Hell no. Shakur Stevenson talked all that shit to fight Frank Martin's leftovers while Frank Martin gets a Tank Davis fight. Son, as the saying goes, tables turn, y'all gotta hold this L. Let the boy Ego cook in today's video. Let's dive in.
I told you guys, the most dangerous thing, especially in boxing, is a camera and a microphone. That will get you in severe trouble. So it has just been announced and reported Shakur Stevenson is finalizing a deal for his very next fight. As the saying goes, tables turn, you live in, you learn. Find out more in today's video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. It is now being reported Shakur Stevenson is finalizing his very next fight, upcoming fight, hometown fight, right? In Newark, New Jersey, against none other than Olympian Artem Harutyunyan. Make sure you guys follow me on social media. Shakur Stevenson looks to be finalizing a deal with Olympian Artem Harutyunyan, which you guys might remember that's Frank Martin's last opponent. This would mark the final fight left on Shakur Stevenson's contract with Top Rank Boxing. After this fight, Shakur Stevenson would become a free agent. Now, I don't as much have a problem with the fight, but Harutyunyan is coming off of a loss to Frank Martin, as I've explained. However, and there's a big however, but wait, there's more. The reason why this fight looks bad for Shakur Stevenson, you guys heard it on the intro. Shakur Stevenson talked cash-ish about Frank Martin. He berated him. And we're not talking about like maybe a tweet that only got a couple of likes or whatever. We're talking about on a popular podcast with Gilly, Wright, and Wallow. Like, he's on $1 million worth of game. Shout out to them. And he called Frank Martin all sorts of B's and names. In fact, I have the clip for you. So we'll take a look at that clip in the next minute. Make sure you guys stay tuned to the end of the video so I can continue doing my thing and cooking. And that's where Shakur Stevenson runs into this problem, because this new generation, they like to get online, Twitter fingers, X fingers, whatever we're calling it. They like to type. They like to say these things. And then now you look at it, Frank Martin's getting the cash cow of boxing, the face of boxing, abso-fucking-lutely, Gervonta Davis, and that fight should be announced. And Shakur is fighting Frank Martin's leftovers, a guy he already beat. But as I promised, we will look at the clip.
You so eager to fight, but it's like every time a fight pop up, it disappear.
Cause
what happened with Frank Martin?
he's a bitch. He's a bitch. That nigga a straight bitch. I never seen nobody more made than Frank Martin. Frank Martin is the most in the world. Like, I done DM'd this. Mind you, I would never had that thought if I didn't have a DM conversation with the nigga. I talked to this nigga on the DMs. I explained this man, look, this is how much money the fight is. Me and you're not that big of a name, bro. You don't bring nothing to the table. I'm the name.
Yeah.
So this how much the fight is worth. This man sat there in the DMs after I told him, look, I'm getting this much, you get this much. He tried to act like it wasn't 25%, but it is. He wanted 50-50. 50-50 or he's not fighting me. And it don't make sense. That don't make sense to me. Like, why would I fight Frank Martin? He never won a title. He never been in he never done nothing in the sport of boxing.
No, I like Frank Martin as a fighter.
I mean, he's a
I don't think that, you know, in a purse dispute with you, I don't think he should get 50%.
He don't think that.
I'm gonna say this.
He just scared. He's not going to fight unless it's a cash out number. Just like other fighters, Lomachenko was offered the most money in his career to fight me. Why not fight me? The most you're older, it's the end of your career. Why not take the most money in your career to fight in one of the biggest fights in boxing? Why not?
No. No. Everything he said in that clip was virtually wrong. And I can explain it. Throw a like on the video. So Shakur Stevenson went on this podcast, $1 million worth of game. And for one, me personally, call me old school, whatever. I thought that was a bit much. It was a bit much. The level of gratuity. Like, I feel like even if you're from the streets, if you're from the hood, I don't care about none of that. I know a lot of people that know how to switch it on and off. When you're on a national, podcast, a broadcast, you got to have that switch. Like, you talking to your homies and use a lot of slang and stuff, that's cool. But when you're going to go into, like, let's say Shakur Stevenson were to do a deal, an endorsement deal with Nike, right? Or Apple. They wanted to partner with you and have you as, someone to endorse their new headphones or something. Are you going to talk like that? You know what I mean? So a lot of these athletes, they get on these podcasts and you got to be able to form a sentence. I mean, every other word was Frank Martin's a B, he a B, he a itchity itch, he a witch, he this, he a witch, he the witchest witch, the wickedest witch. And you know what I'm saying? Like, every single thing you're saying is just a curse word, and we're seeing that with Ryan Garcia as he promotes the Devin Haney fight. And again, this is coming from someone I'm not against cussing. Y'all hear me cuss, but you have to be able to form a sentence without like all the extras, like to the point where I had to bleep out the whole clip so you guys get the gist of what he's saying, the context of what he's saying, but it just sounds ridiculous with all beep, beep, beep. It's like an episode of Cops or something. Like, so I feel like that was over the top. Frank Martin's still a fighter. You gotta respect it. You know what I mean? And he's like, oh, he the biggest. It's just extreme. It was dramatic and extreme. That's my first point of contention with what Shakur Stevenson did and said. It was just way too vulgar and gratuitous for no real reason. He said he the biggest witch he ever met. Like, come on, like, really? Like, so you met people that don't fight, don't know how to fight, and out of all the people you've ever encountered, Frank Martin was the biggest, problem. Then he starts talking about the money. He's like, he didn't believe it was 25% and he wanted 50-50 and da-da-da. Fast forward to the future, all that's out the window. Frank Martin hasn't fought since Artem Harutyunyan, a guy you're trying to fight. So you're fighting his leftovers, a guy he handedly beat, right? He handedly beat him, had his eye all messed up, right? And now you want to fight his leftovers. So that's strike two. Strike three is you're talking about the money split. Oh, he wants all this money. He wanted 50-50. He wanted to. He's getting whatever he's getting versus Gervonta Davis, I'm sure is better than whatever Top Rank was offering him to fight Shakur Stevenson. Because Bob Arum even said Shakur's last fight with Edwin De Los Santos, he stated that it was a boring fight, right? Now, again, the Frank Martin negotiations would have been before that. But what I'm saying is, you look at Top Rank and you look at Shakur's relationship with Top Rank, it is very apparent that Top Rank is not considering Shakur the it guy. Why do I say that? Let me know in the comment section if you know why I would say that. The reason why I'm saying it's clear to me that they don't consider him to be the it guy is because he's not landing any of the big fights. And we can go down the list if you really want to. But I know you know what I'm talking about. But you know what? For the new folk on the channel, right? Let's entertain it. So, Shakur Stevenson, let's talk about people in or around his division in the last several years and the opportunities that they were getting. Devin Haney was a Eddie Hearn fighter with DAZN at the time. He comes over and does a 3-fight deal, and he fights for undisputed twice. Twice he's fighting with all the belts on the line, and that was George Kambosos. So when Kambosos beat Teofimo on the zone, came back, did a deal with Top Rank or whatever, and Devin Haney, who wasn't even on Top Rank's roster, Devin Haney was able to get a fight before Shakur Stevenson with undisputed. So all the belts where it all counted. And he beat George Kambosos twice. Then the guy who wasn't like a long-term signee and is not with Top Rank right now. That's why his next fight is with Golden Boy and Ryan Garcia. So a person who popped his head in for, a 3-fight deal, but then became a free agent, not a long-term Top Rank signee. Shakur, since the beginning of his career, since being an Olympian and getting out the amateurs and getting the silver medals, he's been with Top Rank, right? So how did Devin Haney get into Top Rank, and I understand Top Rank wanted to sign Devin Haney when he was 17, but they didn't. So they wanted to do business, the Haney business, to the point where they allowed him to cut in line instead of one of their own. And the funny thing is, people mad on like PBC. They're like, how is Errol Spence potentially getting the Tim Tszyu versus Fundora winner? And I've explained it. Business is business. Terrence Crawford is a free agent. He can roam around and do whatever he wants now that the rematch clause is over. But if he doesn't commit to PBC, why would they not give their fighter that has seniority like an Errol Spence the opportunity and make the in-house fights? Common sense, people, right? So that's the other issue with Shakur. He hasn't got none of the looks. Devin Haney became undisputed, something you've never done, cut in front of the line and got fights like Kambosos twice in Australia, made millions in those fights. And then he gets Lomachenko. Fast forward to the future, Devin beats Lomachenko, close fight. Some people had it the other way, but the judges gave it to Devin. So he moves on. He moves out the division, goes back to Eddie Hearn. I was there, fought Regis Prograis, looked amazing, became a champion in a new division, and now he's fighting another fight with the marquee name, Ryan Garcia, even though Ryan just lost to Gervonta Davis. This is the chronological order. Even after losing to Devin Haney, and I thought he should have lost to Jermaine Ortiz, guess who can't get Lomachenko? Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson wants Lomachenko, but Top Rank is not willing to give him. Navarrete, he's another person. He's going to move up to the division and fight some random Liam for a title instead of Shakur getting the fight. So Navarrete, you didn't get Kambosos, you didn't get Lomachenko, and you didn't get Devin Haney when he popped his head in for a 3-fight deal. And then you can't get Kambosos and Lomachenko. They're fighting each other for a vacant belt. I'm on fire. It looks like your boy Ego is on fire, right? And then you try to get the Frank Martin fight. That fell apart over money. And people try to blame Frank Martin. I never blamed him because I understood. He said, why would I go to enemy territory, fight a good fighter in Shakur Stevenson, have the judges against me, the network against me, and not be comfortable with my pay? And it looks like Frank Martin holding out makes a whole lot of sense, because him holding out, he's landed an in-house fight, which is far greater and bigger, especially when we're looking at Shakur's last fight that, a lot of people thought was a snoozer against Edwin De Los Santos. So you see in or around the division, there's a whole bunch of movement. Everybody's getting the great big fights except for Shakur Stevenson. Lomachenko title fight in Australia. So Kambosos keeps getting home court advantage with Devin Haney's and Lomachenko. So he keeps getting big opportunities. He gets to host at home and stuff like that, right? He's fighting Lomachenko for a title. Navarrete's fighting for a title. Frank Martin and Gervonta Davis are going to fight. Another huge fight. Anyone Tank fights is huge. Devin's fighting Ryan Garcia. Devin already got Lomachenko. Devin already was undisputed with Kambosos. So Devin is like rapidly moving through and impressing people and getting to the ranks. The only person that don't have the big fights is Shakur Stevenson. And now he's going to fight a guy that Frank Martin did this to his eye and beat him. This is who Top Rank got for the boy Shakur. You know, the guy that already lost to the other guy that you couldn't fight. And then I'm also hearing that El Rayo could possibly rematch Edwin De Los Santos. And the first fight was a banger. So I would bet money if that fight pops up. And they're talking about that fight being on a big card, on the Tank Davis card. So they're talking about David Benavidez on the card, moving up to 75. Tank Frank, huge card already. And then they're talking about El Rayo, who just fought Chris Colbert and had a knockout of the year. And then he's going to fight against the guy that beat him, that Shakur just fought, Edwin De Los Santos. And I guarantee you it'll be a better fight than Shakur versus De Los Santos fight. You see what I'm saying? So it's not looking so hot for Shakur Stevenson. And you got to blame Shakur for some of it. You signed with who you signed to, and you're getting treated just like Terrence Crawford to whatever fights that they feel they can give you. And you're not getting the big fights. It's just, I've already went over it chronologically. And then you did all that. You talked all that head about Frank Martin, saying he's a BZ, he a witch, the wicked witch. I'm paraphrasing. And now he got a way bigger fight than you. He goes on to make more money, and you're fighting his leftovers.